you have a hard time sitting in this toe sit position, or maybe sitting on your heels, right? Toes, does that kill your toes? Does that hurt your feet? Maybe sitting in your heel sit. So these are two really important, or there's a few important resting down postures that a lot of people have a hard time resting actually in. So try these couple exercises to get you started. So you'll need a yoga block. Bring it against the wall. We're going to work on toe extension. So ideally we want to get a 90-degree angle of toe extension. So you're going to bring your toes up the block like such, and kind of sliding my foot down in that position. Okay. I want to try to sense the weight here. Your foot's like a tripod, big toe, mound, pinky toe, and the heel. So when I'm sliding my toes down, I'm also working on trying to feel load in that whole tripod foot. Okay? So when I'm walking and I'm toeing off, right, the back of my leg extensors need to turn on. So I want to think about that also while my foot is in front, right? Where my pelvic position is and where my head and rib cage position. So as I'm doing this, it's not just about stretching the toes and getting a passive stretch. It's about creating that range so I can feel the ground activate everything all the way up in a whole body fascial perspective. So toes are up. I'm going to weight shift forward. As I do, I want to sense my heel, inner and outer, and then I can move my knee around to sense big toe pinky. But I want to think about sending the leg that's forward, that thigh back, and slightly rotating it in. So it would kind of put me rotating over to that left a little bit, right? And then weight shift back. And I want to think my head's kind of moving back, my ribs are staying slightly wide and back as I come forward and back down, right? I can have my hands on the wall so that I keep proper load in my foot. If I'm trying to balance and I already have compensations, it's not going to help my brain learn how to load in that position, right? That toe extension position, okay? So toes up the block, stacking your head, ribs, and pelvis. I want to think back of this leg moves back. I'm also pushing off this foot, right? There's a little spin of the thigh inward, which will help me feel some weight starting to roll into that big toe, right? And then just bring aware of my head, my ribs, and then my breath. So I want to make sure I'm not holding my breath. And I'm just coming forward just enough. If you're really restricted in your toes, you may not feel this point ground yet. So just moving just gently into it and out of it. So that's how the foot, right, is very dynamic. It needs to extend and then back to neutral. Right, so that's your toe extension. For ankle and toe flexion, right, I want to bring the top of my foot down, and that'll start opening this top part of the foot to actually sit on it, right? Or just like after you've been standing or running, it's a nice little counterfascial stretch. Again, I want to think about my thigh moving back a little bit. So move that thigh back, which is going to load the top of that foot. And I am going to feel a stretch here, but it's a loaded stretch. And I'm paying attention to my alignment and my body. And again, I can hold on for support. Okay. I can also we get tight through this part of the foot. So I can just bend the toes under. I don't have to push down, and just let gravity be my therapist. So I let my foot just be heavy. I can weight shift that. I can roll it around if I'm a little more flexible. I can go through toe extension, toe off, toe flexion, extension, right? So just a way to start getting those feet mobile, right? When your toes can extend, you can lower yourself down, right, without restriction. So our toes and our feet have to be strong and mobile, not just flexible and not just strong. So that's one way we learn to be better runners, that push off, and to be able to do a full split squat or just getting up and down off of the ground, right, with more ease and fluidity.